Welcome back, one and all. We are back. Celebratory screams. Woo! Woohoo! Boy, you guys really fucked me over on that. We all said right before the show, hey, let's all scream in celebration. It totally won't be gay if we do it all together. And you guys just totally fucked me over.
Yeah, you're queer.
Yeah, we actually said whoever yells is gay, and Jade was the only one to yell, so.
Okay, well, welcome to the BTW podcast. I'm Jade. This is Ryan. That's Brandon. And we're here to talk about the Grand Showcase. Yay! Holy shit, you guys were right. So BTW's coming back. It's been kinda back for a few weeks now with primetime specials and devastation specials and shit like that. But now we really get kicked off. We got a card.
Voice now, or
I'm back at I can't tell what you're talking about. So we're just gonna continue with the show. Ding! Little one counter pops up on the screen. So let's just talk about this live from Los Angeles, on the 26th, Grand Showcase 3. We got a pre-show just like we always do. Bill Cage versus Bobby White. We'll just do real quick predictions for these, kickoff shows. There hasn't been a lot of build up for them, but still there has to be a winner. So roundtable, gentlemen, who you got between Cage and White?
I'm taking Cage all the way on this one. Too big, too bad, too much for White.
You can't really go against Bobby White. I don't know what you got against the guy. I think he's got it.
Well, as a tiebreaker, I'm going to go ahead and go with Bill Cage. Both of them are hardcore, and I agree with Brandon. I think size is going to trump it. Iron Man Women's Battle Royal. A lot of names in there. Some you might recognize, some you might not. So who do we think's got the most momentum going into it?
I'm taking Jade Wilson in this one. She's got a new mentality lately. She's a lot more vicious, a lot more cunning. I think she's going to pull this one out in the end. I think she's going to find a way to win this thing.
Ryan?
I'm going to go with Roxanne because she slipped me her number one time.
Roxanne! And she's got a pretty, kick-ass name. So I'm going to go with Jezebel because that's another word for whore, and it makes me like... I'm kidding, Jezebel. I respect you. I respect your feminicity. But yeah, so I'll stick with Jezebel as a surprise, black sheep, black horse winner. Sure. I'll take Jezebel in that one. So the Ray O'Neal Iron Man Battle Royal, the winner of this match is going to face RJ Grimm on the main card for the Hardcore Championship. And guys, there's been two guys in this match that have really shown they want it above all others, Travis Johnson and Irish Cena. But still a lot of big names in this match. Anybody could win it. So who you got, Brandon?
I think the Irish Cena's riding a huge wave of momentum lately. I think I've never seen him so focused and more ready for anything in his career. I don't see anyone winning the Battle Royal but him.
I'm going to have to disagree. I think Jay Blaze is always on top of his game, and I think he's going to want this more than anyone else, just like he always wants everything else. So I think he'll take it.
Well, the other name we mentioned earlier is Travis Johnson. He's been really riding a huge wave of momentum, just like Cena. He's been showing the fans a better side of him lately. He used to just kind of ride in the shadows in the background, and now he's kind of stepped to the forefront and showed that he wants a moment like this. So I'll take Travis Johnson in that one. All right, now moving to the main card where the big boys play. The first match on the card got a little. Boys, eh? Yeah, I am a big boy. I'm in the Bears Club. What's that app for like Grindr, except it's just got big burly gay guys in it?
That's Grindr.
Yeah.
How would I know?
Yeah.
How would I know that?
I'm just saying that's the kind of shit that you might find me in.
I think we were assuming, but
yeah. Well, you know what? This happens when you assume two big gay guys, do each other in the ass or something like that. I don't know how so Grand Showcase, the Gold Pool versus the Shadow Warriors has got a lot more personal at the primetime event a few weeks ago, when the dance contest turned into a beatdown, as Gold Pool laid out Spike and TJ Shadows in the middle of the ring. So what are we thinking? That Gold Pool retains or Shadow Warriors come out on top?
I honestly think the Shadow Warriors are going to be pissed off going into this match. And if there are two guys you do not want to get on the wrong side of in BTW, it's General Spike and TJ Shadows. So I think Gold Pool made the biggest mistake of their careers. They're in serious trouble.
You do not interfere TJ Shadows whenever he is dancing. That's just, it's like a law. I mean, I think the Shadow Warriors, like Brandon said, they're just gonna be livid. They're gonna go in there and they're just gonna run straight through them. I think I'm calling it right now. 2 minutes and done.
2 minutes and done.
2 minutes.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
So I'm actually gonna go with the gold pool to retain, not just because I didn't want to go for a clean sweep here. It seems like every time we turn a corner, they've got another surprise for the Shadow Warriors. Obviously, Spike and Shadows have the advantage in big matches, both former world champions. So maybe I'm going against my better judgment here, but just as a surprise pick, I'm gonna go with gold pool to retain. Next match is an anything goes grudge match between Michael Johnson and Big T. Big T has not had a lot to say, but that doesn't change the fact that he's one of the best competitors to ever step foot in the company. And this is a match that both men have been looking forward to for a while. So who do we got in this one?
Michael Johnson always seems to find a way to win. Honestly, he always seems to find that extra gear to pull himself through. I don't think Big T's head is in it as much as he'd like us to think. I think his silence is, I don't want to say insecurity, but I don't quite think he's 100% invested in this match. I think maybe he has other things on his mind. So with that said, and taking Michael Johnson's work ethic into account, I'm going with the workhorse on this one.
I mean, Big T, he's, like Jade said, he's always been a competitor. He's in the big time for a reason. He's a main eventer. He's all that. But Michael Johnson just has that extra step. But I'm going to switch it around and go with Big T because I think you cannot stop the big man Big T.
Yeah, I mean, and it's really Hall of Famer versus future Hall of Famer, right? I don't think anybody doubts that. In this case, I want to pick Big T, but on the other hand, his record at the Grand Showcase isn't exactly great. He did lose that classic to General Spike a few years ago. I gotta go with Michael Johnson in this one. I just think he wants it a little bit more than Big T, and I think it shows in the lead up to the show. So the next match, you can't really doubt either of these women wanting the victory. They've been back and forth at each other's throats for several weeks. Neither woman seems to be taking a day off at all. We got Misbehavior and we got Susie Spitz, the Diva versus the Vixen. So who do we got in this one?
I don't think Susie Spitz is going to lose this match, and I don't think it's a matter of Misbehavior not performing or not being up to the task. I just think Susie Spitz is not going to be stopped right now. She is riding a huge wave of momentum, and going into an occasion like the Grand Showcase, the best always step up on the biggest stage, and I think that's Susie Spitz on this match.
You say the best always step up on the biggest stage, but who's better than Misbehavior when it comes to the women's division in BTW? She's the
right
cornerstone.
Now, I think Susie Spitz.
She's the cornerstone. Misbehavior, you cannot, it's like putting all of your chips all on one, but that spot isn't even on the board. Honestly, it is Misbehavior.
Times change, my man. Nothing stays gold.
Yeah, so it's kind of a weird conundrum we find ourselves in with this match because, and we'll talk about this more in a minute, but the last we remember of Susie Spitz was the cursing, ranting, I'm gonna destroy your company, Susie Spitz, that we all remember from 3 years ago. But now we've got Susie.
I got her number 2.
Now we got Susie coming in, and she seems to have made her peace with that whole incident. We haven't heard a negative thing from her since she came back. But this would really be the icing on the cake as far as redeeming herself, winning on the biggest stage of them all. When it comes down to it, yeah, I mean, you're both right. Susie is maybe better than Misbehavior right now, but over the long haul, we know that Misbehavior can step up in these big matches. So, short of calling in a draw, it's really a coin flip for me, but I'm gonna take, I'm gonna take the fury and passion of Susie Spitz, and I'm gonna say that she comes in and wins big in this one. So, let's stop here. Let's stop it. Oh, screw you. Let's stop here on this one for a minute. And let's talk about this. So who has, regardless of who you think is going to win, who has more to lose by losing this match? Misbehavior or Susie Spitz, taking into consideration everything that both ladies have been through? Going back to you, Brandon.
I think Misbehavior's legacy is on the line in this match. I think if she remember, Susie Spitz left before she really hit her stride in BTW. So this is the first time that Misbehavior is going against the Susie Spitz that we have seen in other, wrestling federations, the truly dominant force. If Misbehavior can't win this match, then how can she possibly call herself the best in the women's division of big time wrestling? I don't think she can do it. I think that for her to sustain her legacy and live up to her name, she has to win this match. She cannot lose.
And Ryan, at this point, has Susie done enough to make up for what she did the last time she was here? And if not, do you think this match would be enough to finish that out?
This match is what it's going to take to piece together what happened in the past, to make amends. This match is what she needs. But that's what, going along with what Brandon had to say, it's the fact that Misbehavior's legacy is on the line with this. And that's why I said Misbehavior's going over, because of the fact that this is Misbehavior's legacy. This is what she's worked for. This isn't for championships. This isn't for anything else. This is just a one-on-one grudge match more than anything else. And when it comes down to it, Misbehavior doesn't want that tarnish on her whole legacy. Susie needs this, but Misbehavior wants this more.
That's a good way to put it. And speaking of wanting it more, that's kind of a question that we have to ask ourselves about match number 4. The Internet Championship's on the line as the champion. Marco Taviscali takes on DJK. This is a match both men wanted. They kind of called each other out simultaneously. But Marco hasn't really been responding to DJK's words over the past several weeks. Part of me thinks that Marco doing that on purpose, I wouldn't put that past him if he's just trying to ignore DJK to damage his ego. But DJK has taken notice. He's angry. He's ready to go. He's frustrated, and he wants this win. So what do we think? Marco retains? Is he in DJK's head, or does DJK become a 2-time Internet champion?
Ever since he lost the BTW championship to Kevin Ralston, we've seen a different side of DJK. I think he kind of struggled to regain his footing after that loss, but now he's just, I've never seen him so focused. He's angry. He is hunting. DJK is coming for that championship, and he's probably going to take Marco's head with it. DJK all the way.
When it comes down to it, the best way to get inside of DJ's head is to ignore him and to frustrate him, because that ego of his is so big. But the fact is he doesn't allow it to get too big. DJK knows what he's doing in that ring. He's proved it time and time again. Even when he loses, somehow he manages to come out on top. It's ridiculous. DJK, I think, is white hot, and he's coming home with the gold.
Yeah, and assuming there won't be any cheap tactics on Marco's side, I think it's a clean sweep here. DJK wins, I think, and not a blowout by any means, but definitely towards the end of the match, I think we'll see DJK win it in a dominant fashion. So speaking of dominant, I love these lead-ins I'm doing. God, look at me, I'm a genius.
I'm such a genius.
Yeah, go ahead, stroke that ego.
I'll stroke
you're gonna
it.
stroke something.
Oh yeah. God, how does this conversation keep coming back to my penis and where it's going? I'm not really, not really sure
Just
how this
stop
goes.
it.
So bad self.
So yeah, speaking of bad selves, Dark Savior and Jackson.
Right.
Put a bullet in my head.
And speaking of my penis, it's the monster versus the beast.
Oh my god. Jesus, take me real.
Oh god. Oh man. Okay, I'm sorry. Recover. So blood, physicality, mind games galore between Savior
Please don't bring that back,
and Ellis. I won't bring, nothing else will be brought to my penis. Ignoring my penis, so who do we got in, the monster versus the beast?
Oh man. This one is the one match on the card where I look at and think total toss up. If I have to go out on a limb and pick for this one, I think while Jackson Ellis is more powerful and more dangerous than the Dark Savior, I really think Dark Savior is crazier and more willing to do anything to win. And I'm not saying that with the fact that Jackson Ellis doesn't want to hurt Savior in mind. I'm saying that Savior can think of more ways to hurt Jackson Ellis and put him down. With that in mind, I'm taking the Monster in this one. I think the Monster conquers the Beast.
Dark Savior is one of the most cunning and interesting individuals in BTW. When it comes down to it, he plays very unique mind games. But see, mind games only work to a man who cares. Jackson Ellis just doesn't care. When it comes down to it, he's going to punch you in the face, and he's going to pick you up, throw you down, pin you 1, 2, 3. I think when it comes down to it, the Beast wants it more because the Beast is hungrier than the Monster. So I have to pick, my boy Jackson Ellis.
Yeah, this one feels impossible for me to pick. It really does. Because you can't say the strongest man will win because they're both equally strong. You can't say the biggest man is going to win because they're both equally strong. You can't say the meanest one's going to win because they're both meaner than junkyard dogs. So I'm not, so in that case, I think when you come down to the battle of the minds, I really think with Ellis, it's brawn over mind. But with Savior, I think that he can access this part of his soul and his brain that not many people can access in a match like this, and he can find ways to hurt Ellis that Ellis might not be able to think of. So for that reason, I think I'm picking the Dark Savior to win the match. But I think this has a much more interesting conversation behind it, and we'll spend just a couple more minutes on it. Going back around the table, starting with Brandon. So, when you compare the careers, Dark Savior, multiple time world champion, a hardcore champion, part of some of the most brutal matches, in BTW history, most of which he's come out on top of. And then you got Jackson Ellis, Triple Crown champion, one of the most dominant BTW champions in history. So which one do you think has had the more dominant career, Brandon?
Boy, that's a tough one. Like I said, you hit the nail right on the head. Both these guys are incredibly accomplished. They've both taken down some big names. Jackson Ellis took down Zach Murphy. Dark Savior has taken down the likes of Kevin Ralston. Both of these guys, and this is going to sound like a cop-out, I gotta say they're both equally impressive to me. But they've been impressive in different ways. Dark Savior is the hardcore icon of BTW. I don't think anybody can dispute that. Jackson Ellis is probably the biggest powerhouse we've ever seen in BTW. So with those two facts in mind, I really can't pick one over the other on this one. They both impress the hell out of me.
I mean, when it comes down to it, you're asking a tough one. Like you said, both, former champions, just brutal and just brute strength individuals. It's just ridiculous. I think honestly, this match is what this is about. This is just two men with two great legacies going at it. I think the match will decide it for us. All I'm going to say is let's get the ring crew on standby for after this match because they may need to rebuild some stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's a tough question because I think Jackson Ellis has been, when it comes to the men he's defeated, I think he's been more dominant, but I think Dark Savior has been dominant for longer. I know. Dark Savior's been around longer than Jackson Ellis, so he's got more accomplishments. But giving Ellis some time, I think he may surpass Savior. Only if Savior has anything to say about it, he may kill Jackson Ellis at the Grand Showcase. So we'll see what happens. The next match, this is a match, speaking of, oh God, can you guys believe, Brandon more than Rhines, he's been around for longer, but can you believe that at some point this week is BTW's 3-year anniversary?
It's been a ride, man.
I don't know exactly when, but it may have been 3 years ago last week. I'm not exactly sure. But you and I were some of the first ones on, but the man in this next match, Kent Von Eichenberg, he was the first one on.
Yeah.
He was Tony Blaze's first signee into the company. He's the heel of famer, the German wrecking ball. And he came out of retirement last month, posted a really cryptic, strange video of him carrying a giant rock on his shoulder and challenged Carson Callahan to a match at the showcase. Now Carson has not been able to stop talking about this match. He wants it very badly. He wants to close this storybook between Eichenberg and Callahan. They were battling back when it was the Four Horsemen versus the Rogues. These two were going at it. For Eichenberg, it seems like it's been more about the challenge and less about the ride, as he wants the match, but he hasn't really been there along for the ride with Carson and leading up to it. So regardless of any of that, who do we got in this one?
I gotta go with the German Wrecking Ball on this one. He has been one of my absolute favorites since day one. He's got so much personality. The man is fucking hilarious. And he's just a force to be reckoned with in the ring. I don't think he would have come back without knowing 100% that he can and will win this match. So with that said, Ken von Eichenberg takes this one.
I think Carson's hungrier for it. I mean, Ken von Eichenberg, it's great to see him back. It's great to see him hopefully on a path of destruction once more, and hopefully he climbs the ranks, but he's not going to start that climb at Grand Showcase because Carson is hungrier. Carson is more willing to do more and put in more work. He is going to wreck the Wrecking Ball at Grand Showcase.
I admittedly have always been one of Carson Callahan's biggest critics as far as his style in e-fetting. But, I mean, I gotta say, he's always been there putting the work in. The one thing you can never question about Carson Callahan is how hard he works when he's put into a match. But then you got Eichenberg. The only thing that can make this match more nostalgic is if it was for the Internet Championship and Kindred and what was the other one? Hydro, something like that.
I think so.
Yeah, if those two were at ringside and it was for the Internet Championship, that could be the only way it could be more nostalgic. So this is going to be a fun match just to watch, no matter who wins. I think in the long run, I'm going to take Carson Callahan to win it, but it's going to be a hell of a ride, no matter who wins. The next match, two of the newest men to be inducted into the BTW Hall of Fame, Dave Shirai and Shane Black. Dave Shirai and Shane Black, they kind of made their stances against each other. Both of them have said their piece, and then now they seem to be ready just to settle it in the ring. So who do we got in this one?
Boy, Dave Shirai is one of those big time performers that I always talk about. Think about what the guy did last year. He was in a triple threat match with Kevin Ralston and DC Zamcham. BTW Hall of Famers. Both of them. And former world champions. And he won the BTW championship in that match. That is absolutely incredible. There are few performances in BTW that have been as impressive as that one. So I think with him again on the big stage, it's Shirai all the way.
I'm actually going to have to agree with you, Brandon. I've always been a huge fan of Dave Shirai and Shane Black, but when it comes down to it, Shirai to me just has that extra it factor, for lack of better words, to just go out there and get the job done. So I have to go with Dave Shirai.
It's no secret that I'm pretty much the president of the Shane Black fan club. I always have been. But I feel like, so you mentioned Dave Shirai winning in the main event at the Showcase last year, and that's his signature win, right? And I know with Shane Black, you could point out, he's won Best of the Best. He's won the World Heavyweight Championship. He's won the Junior Heavyweight Championship. But Brandon, Ryan might not remember anyway, but can you tell me who he beat in any one of those matches?
To be honest with you, no, I can't.
Yeah, and I can't either. So that's kind of my point. And I'm not saying that other people won't remember who are more hardcore Levolution fans, but it seems like as much as we've been around, right, and as much as we've seen, we should be able to remember who Shane Black beat in those matches, and we can't. So even with all of Shane Black's accomplishments, I still think he's missing that one key big victory that he can hang his hat on and say, hey, that match right there, that match I won. And I don't think he's got that yet. But I think if he beats Dave Shirai, a guy who's a Hall of Famer, not just in BTW, but in other feds, if he beats Dave Shirai at the Grand Showcase, I think that could be the one that he frames the 3 count of and puts it on his wall and points to it and says, yeah, that's the match that I won. And I think he's got to capitalize on that. So for that reason, I'm going to pick Shane Black because I feel like he's got more to gain out of this match than Shirai does. The next match we don't have to spend a whole lot of time on. This is kind of like a Lesnar versus Goldberg kind of situation where it's just kind of a one-off kind of thing. Neither man has really had a whole lot to say about this match, but both men are considered icons across the Fed spectrum. It's Jin Kaze versus Vitek. So what are your thoughts, and who do you think is going to win this one?
I think VTech's going to take this one. I think it's no secret that when he first came to BTW in his first little stint, I was not a fan. And I let him know that personally. But the guy has turned over a completely new leaf and has actually accomplished something very few people do, and that's impressed me. I really think he's going to be okay in this one, and I think he's going to come out on top over Jinkazi.
Man, I really don't know. Both these guys, like, the title itself is Battle of the Icons. They're huge across the EFED world, and it's hard to just pinpoint which one could go over in a match of such stakes, of just legacy on the line. And I honestly, I mean, just to go against Brandon, I'm going to go with Jinkazi.
Well, fuck guys. You too, Ryan.
Dang it!
Coming up next, we got RJ Grimm defending his hardcore championship. Now, this is going to be against the winner of the Ray O'Neal Battle Royal earlier in the night. So obviously you have to pick either RJ Grimm or the person that you picked to win that. Brandon, I believe you chose the Irish Cena to come out on top in that match. So who you got, if it does come out that way, RJ Grimm or the Irish Cena?
I think Irish Cena is going to be riding so much momentum from winning that Ray O'Neal Battle Royal. If he doesn't take too much damage in that Battle Royal, and he should be okay, I think he can pull this off. I think he can pull off the upset and defeat RJ Grimm for his championship.
Ryan, I believe your pick was Jay Blaze, so who you got in that matchup?
I say Jay Blaze wants it so bad, but I think RJ Grimm, I mean, he's the hardcore champion for a reason. After going through a battle royal, Jay Blaze is obviously going to be worn out. I mean, unless he plays it smart, I see RJ Grimm, no matter who it is, I still think it's Jay Blaze, but no matter who it is, I think RJ Grimm has got it in the bag.
Yeah, and then
I honestly, I gotta agree with that. Sorry to cut in, but like, I really agree. I think that the only one who can come out of this battle royal and pull this off is Irish Cena. I just don't see anybody else doing it.
Yeah, and that's kind of why picking Travis Johnson to win the battle royal. I think I would pick RJ Grimm to retain against Travis Johnson. Not because I doubt Travis Johnson's ability, but because, like you said, you got to have a lot of heart, a lot of passion to come out of a battle royal match like that and then win a hardcore match against this champion of all people. So yeah, I still pick Travis Johnson to win the battle royal, but then I think RJ Grimm retains against him. So now moving on, guys, a lot of people consider this the start of one of 6 main events. We got, I mean, this card, no disrespect to any of the matches that's at the top of the card, but this card is so backloaded, as far as the main events go. Yeah. And we start with, like I said, one of what some people consider one of 6 main events. EWO comes to BTW. We're familiar with who Raven Ryder is. We're familiar with who Will Wagner is, but we're stepping into uncharted territory, guys, because we've had, mixed tag team matches where women and men have ended up in the same match, in the same ring, incidentally, and we've seen Jason Masterson, deliver natural selection to Elena Treble and stuff like that. We've seen Keisha Jones win the internet championship. But this match, if you know Will Wagner at all, is going to be violent. And especially if you spend any time in EWO, which I have, Raven Ryder and Will Wagner, it's kind of like, it really is kind of like EWO's Masterson versus Ralston. It's up there. It's a rivalry that people in EWO come to see. It's very personal and it's very physical, as I've seen Raven Ryder perform. So we're entering uncharted territory for BTW, but who do you got in this one regardless?
Oh man. It honestly, this is another one that is kind of a toss-up now that I think about it. I think Raven Ryder is resilient. I think if anyone can pull this off, it's her. But I don't see anybody Will Wagner coming out and winning this match. I really don't.
I thought this was BTW. Raven Ryder, next.
Well, so there's the view that some fans are taking with BTW. I'm glad we got that out in the open. But yeah, so I think it's cool. We got the crossover event coming up between EWO and BTW, so we're starting to see BTW kind of reach out. It used to be with BTW, and I'm going to go off track for just a second here, but for 2.5 years with BTW, it was BTW exists in this universe, and every other Fed exists in this other universe. You know what I mean? So I think with BTW reaching the rust stretch that it's reached, over the past 6 months or so. I think that the only way that it's going to survive is if it does reach out and generate partnerships with other companies. And I think this is a good way to start it, bringing two of EWO's biggest stars. And Will Wagner and Raven Ryder, they're no snubs in BTW lore either, but their careers are much more storied and much more accomplished in EWO. So it's kind of cool to see the stories kind of mix here. Regardless, who do I think is going to win the match? That's where it gets tricky because I don't know who to pick in a woman versus men match. That's not something BTW does very often. When it does, it's always, like I said, gimmicky. Keisha had the Renegades backing her up. Lucid was tag team with Jason Masterson. Elena was already injured and Jason Masterson was a complete asshole. So I don't know. It's weird. But I think, just based on my knowledge, I don't know. Maybe, you know what? Maybe I will pick Raven Ryder. I think it would be a cool moment to see Raven Ryder win, but like Brandon said, I think it's a toss up. So the next match. This is a rematch, but a lot of people consider it a match. It's not really a rematch because it didn't go like we wanted it to the first time around at Heatwave last summer. It's the returning Kevin Ralston against the returning Zach Murphy in a grudge match that Murphy said the showcase could not happen without, and Kevin Ralston gladly accepted. So Brandon, you're disqualified for making a pick in this match for reasons, but what are your thoughts on the match going into it?
I think this is a match that is going to be one that goes down in the annals of BTW history. These are two guys who have captivated the fans, who have been faces of the company for as long as they've been around. I think it'll be interesting to see what Kevin Ralston can do after being gone for so long. He's given some indication that he's been through some shit while he's been gone, man. Like when he was in the limo with Brent Booker there, he just kind of spaced out.
Yeah.
He doesn't look kind of like the same Kevin Ralston that we've always seen, but I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. With that said, Zach Murphy's a man on a mission, so if he could stay focused and stay in his lane from now until the Grand Showcase, I see no reason why he could win. But then again, Kevin Ralston is Kevin Ralston. You know, he's one of the all-time greats for a reason, so this one could definitely go either way.
And to build off of that with Ralston before we go to you, Ryan, I think what's interesting about Ralston right now is that he's kind of a combination of both of the Kevin Ralstons that we know about. He's a combination of the hero from hell fighting for the crowd and my family kind of, you know, homeland proud guy, but then he's also got that maniacal side that he bragged about, you know, 2 summers ago against the Horsemen. I think he's kind of a mixture of both, and I think that could be dangerous for Murphy going into it. Ryan, what do you think?
I'm gonna put it like this, and let me explain. This is the old grandpa facing the freight train that has no coal. Let me explain. Let me explain.
I'm gonna give you a chance to roll with it and see what happens.
Yeah, me too, but I better take this.
Let me explain. Where has Zach Murphy been? Where has Kevin Ralston been? These two men that used to be so great, so high and mighty, so at the top of the mountain, and they've fallen, and where have they been? They have not been around for what seems like forever, but then again, that's what's the same with BTW. This match is their match to take claim to what they used to have. This match is a match to breathe new life into these men. This is the match that could give the old man back his youth and put coal back in that freight train so it can keep rolling again. This match is what is going to jumpstart one man's career back. Who's going to take it? That is the question. For me, my money is going to be on the man that I feel was the most upset about BTW going away, the man that I honestly feel needs it more, and that man is Zach Murphy.
Another interesting to think about here is what's it going to do to the man who loses?
Exactly.
You know, we've heard Murphy talk about how bad he needs this, and truthfully he does. So what's going to happen if he can't get the job done at Grand Showcase and Kevin Ralston beats him again? On the other hand, where is Kevin Ralston's head at? If he loses this match, will we ever see him again? There's so many questions going into this match, and the fallout from it might be more interesting than the match and the build-up itself.
Can I just say that I'm pleasantly surprised with how that came back full circle on Ryan's point. I really thought that was a train wreck waiting to happen. And I was.
Thank you.
I kind of pictured Ryan, and his future wife, with his wife going, honey, what do you like better, my soup or my steak? And Ryan going, well, your soup tastes like garbage and your steak tastes like ass. But let me explain.
It's like when a puppy doesn't piss on the rug for the first time. It's like, oh, good job. You know, it's like a pleasant surprise.
So anyway, yeah, I mean, great points all around, with this match. I'm really, really stoked for this matchup. I think it's got the build that we were missing the last time, and I think it's got something to fight for, which I think both men were missing, the first time they fought. But you're right. I mean, I think I'm gonna go with Ralston in this match. I really do. For the most part, strictly, he's the last person that I thought about. Really, it's almost impossible for me to pick anybody in this match. So I'm gonna go with Ralston because right now that's who I'm thinking of, but in an hour I may convince myself that it's Murphy. But it brings up another interesting conversation that we'll cover quickly that Brandon kind of brought up with where these men go. So who stands the better chance, win or lose really? Who stands the better chance of reclaiming their form? And let's just word it like this. Who wins another world championship first, Zach Murphy or Kevin Ralston?
I think it's gonna be whoever wins. Honestly. And that's the tough part, right? Because how do you lose a major match at the Grand Showcase and then get back into the title picture as quickly as the other man? So, I don't know who's gonna win this match, to be quite honest. And I wouldn't feel right making a prediction on it for obvious reasons. But I really think that whoever loses this match is going to lose a lot and is going to be at rock bottom. And conversely, whoever wins is going to be riding a high like they've never seen before.
Ron?
So, it really is whoever comes out on top of this match. But then again, are these two guys who are really focused on world titles? Like, we consider Kevin Ralston to be one of the greatest of all time, and he's had one world championship reign, and it wasn't a long one. You know, Murphy's had world championship reigns, but, I would argue that some of his feuds in which he lost the world title or didn't have the world title have been his more memorable ones. So, I'm kind of getting off topic here, obviously, but it's honestly a toss-up as to who wins.
Yeah, and Ron, real quickly, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm kind of on the same page as Brandon. It's whoever wins the match. I mean, I know I picked Murphy, but even if Ralston comes out on top, I feel like whoever wins this match, that is the man that will win a title next. But you also have to take into consideration, and I'm going to be this guy, could they even win the world title again? Could they even get back into that picture with such new talent that is hungry and fighting for that world championship? I mean, we've seen so many new names just here recently going after the BTW championship. Even if Zach Murphy or Kevin Ralston, whoever wins this match, with all these new guys coming in, could they even find that fire once again to make it back to the top is my question.
So speaking of fire, guys, the next match that we have is a really interesting matchup. This is a match, again, for reasons I'm disqualifying myself, from making a pick. But looking at it, it's two men, Jason Masterson and Cal, who find themselves both in situations they've never been in before for very different reasons. Cal is coming off his first and only career victory against Jason Masterson, and he is on the verge of really cementing himself where he's always wanted to be, at the top of BTW as one of its top main event stars, and a win like this could put him there. Jason Masterson's on a losing streak. Jason Masterson doesn't know about losing streaks. He lost to Cal at the King of Primetime special. He then turned around, and his team won, him and Jason Silva in Devastation at the St. Patrick's Day special, but he got planted in the ring by Dez.
Silva carried that.
Who then turned around, Dez, and pinned him, regardless of interference from Cal. That notwithstanding, Jason Masterson was pinned twice in a row and was planted in a tag team match in which he did not make the winning pin. So it's two men whose current paths are going in complete opposite directions. And I don't think you can really pick which man needs it more at this point. But that notwithstanding, Brandon, who do you got in this one? And it's a ladder match, by the way, in case you didn't know. Ladder match for the International Championship. Probably should point that out.
As if we didn't know that. Fuck. But, I don't feel comfortable going with anybody but Jason Masterson in this match. Cal is younger, he's hungrier, and but with that said, I don't think he has what it takes mentally to beat Masterson. We've seen Masterson is the master of, no pun intended, of mind games. He is the undisputed king of BTW. So I think he knows how to get inside Cal's head, and he knows how to game plan and strategize to win this match. I don't think there's a scenario where Jason Masterson loses this match. I really don't.
And don't forget, he's also got Larry Bernstein in his pocket, as he showed at the last Grand Showcase ladder match that he competed in. Ryan, who do you got?
Absolutely.
I just realized that Master's in Masterson's last name. Oh my god.
All right, so pick your mind up off the floor and tell me what you think of this match now.
Honestly, screw Jason Masterson. He's on a losing streak. He doesn't know where his career is going right now. He is a hothead who is grasping at straws, trying to figure out what in the world is going on. You said it yourself, Jay. Jason Masterson doesn't know what a losing streak is. And now that he is on one, I think he's losing it. He doesn't know. He's furious. I think that blind fury and that blind rage is going to come back and bite him in the rear, because there's just, whenever it comes to Masterson, it's all about mental games. That's how Masterson wins every single one of his matches, is he has a game plan in his brain at all times. And the fact that he doesn't have one, because right now all it is I want to punch Cal in the face. I think Cal's got the upper hand on him finally.
Hey, Ryan,
but that's
completely unrelated. You and me need to meet outside later, where there are no witnesses.
And Jason Silva carried that match.
So, I mean, great. I mean, honestly though, great points on either side. Like I said, 4 reasons I'm disqualified from picking this match. But I mean, I don't disagree with anything that you guys said about this match, and I'm actually just really excited to watch it and to see how it plays out, either way. So moving into the final tier of tonight's matches, we got the current women's champion against the current queen of primetime, the returning Keisha Jones and Faith Kennedy. We've got youth versus experience. We've got technical expertise versus street smarts and, street fighting skills. So, who do we got in this one? Hell in a Cell match, by the way.
Oh, you're fucking dumb. Anything else you want to add? You want to say the
yeah, there's gonna be a total of 4 titties involved in this match. I couldn't even say it with a straight face. Sorry.
We're such little kids.
Sorry, couldn't even say it with a straight face. My apologies.
I would try to knock that down, but I'll be firing up Tinder right after this before I go to bed, so we're all good.
I'm already on.
Yeah. So it's a Hell in a Cell match, right? Hardcore, wrestling skills, technique, everything. It all goes out the window. It all goes out the window in this environment. And when we think street fighting, when we think just outright brutality and doing whatever it takes to win, we think Keisha Jones. I don't think anybody here is going to disagree with that. So I'm taking Keisha in this one just because she has the experience and the tenacity to get it done inside Hell in a Cell.
My heart says Faith. My brain says Keisha. I'm torn. Because, like you said, it's youth versus experience. Which do you pick? Do you pick the hungry youth or the experience of the veteran? Which do you go for? And why do I keep agreeing with them? I'm going to agree with the Canadian again and go with Keisha, because she just has that experience, and I feel like in this type of match, she's going to thrive, and this is going to be her little playground, and Faith doesn't realize what she's getting herself into.
Yeah, again, great point on either side, but I'm the opposite of you, Ryan. My heart says Keisha Jones, but my brain says, Faith Kennedy. I'm the complete opposite. I've always rooted for Keisha, but in my head, I mean, I just imagine the last time we saw Keisha Jones winning the women's championship, riding off into the sunset and retiring. And now all of a sudden she's coming back. She's winning the Queen of Primetime. She's going for the Women's Championship at Grand Showcase. So it's crazy to think about that. I just feel like Faith might, be insulted by that fact. Maybe she sees Keisha and she says, you've had your moment, you've had your goodbye, you rode off into the sunset, now here you come riding back on old Silver. So, I think, I think I'm gonna go with my head on this one. Head over heart. Sorry, Keisha, I love you, sugar, and I'm gonna go with Faith Kennedy to retain the Women's Championship in the Hell in a Cell match. So next up, guys, is my favorite match on the card, for a number of reasons. I think it's the most interesting, story-wise, angle-wise. Obviously neither man is one of the best physical competitors for obvious reasons, but I am so jacked for this match. Just thinking about it gives me chill bumps. One-on-one, the two founders of BTW, Tony Blaze and Brent Booker. The loser retires. Brandon, where are you swinging with this one?
Brent Booker is just too damn smart to lose this match. And I'm not taking anything away from Tony Blaze. You know, he's the pioneer of BTW. None of us would be here without him, regardless of any kind of disagreement any of us have had with him. That said, I think Brent is more conniving, and I think he has that God complex that he does not expect to lose this match at all. So, I think some way, somehow, Brent Booker finds a way to win this match, and we will be saying our goodbyes to Tony Blaze at the Grand Showcase.
My thing about it, you have Tony Blaze and Brent Booker. Both of them have men in their back pocket at all times. Whether we realize it or not, we don't even know who those people may be. But when it comes down to it, Brent Booker is more conniving, but I want a paycheck. I'm going Tony Blaze.
That's a great way to put it, but obviously BTW is in a fragile state right now. We're being reborn. We're rising from the ashes, and we're trying to bring BTW back to its former glory. And this match really is going to decide who's going to be at the tip of that spear, right? This match is going to decide who's going to lead BTW into that new horizon and try and bring it back to where it once was. And you're right, Ryan. I mean, both men, Blaze has his son, TB2. He's got the old Mac Militia he can pull out at any moment. Whereas Booker's got, Logan Lethal, King Ricochet made an appearance. I don't even know if he's physically able to make the show after what happened to him at the hands of Kevin Ralston. But that being said, I think Brent Booker proved everything he needed to prove at the primetime event. Booker proved that it doesn't matter if Brent Booker is wrestling in a match or if he's eating a fucking Happy Meal. Anything can happen when Brent Booker is involved. And I
don't think it's Happy Meals going in that chat.
I don't think Blaze can do anything to counter that. I think with Blaze, it's brute force, but it's a different kind of brute force, right? It's not going to be his brute force. He's going to bring out every weapon that he has at one time, and he's going to hit Brent Booker with it. Booker is going to keep a knife in his back pocket where Blaze can't see it, and just when Blaze thinks he has Booker won, Booker's going to come back up and go for the gullet. That's the best way I can describe it, and I think when it comes down to the last seconds of this match, it is going to be Brent Booker winning this match somehow, some way. I really do think that.
Well, boys, I know who's going to get a raise.
Alright guys, so here we are, the main event, and by God, who thought 2 years ago, even a year ago, that this would be the main event that we were going to get at Grand Showcase 3. Got Jason Silva, who won the BTW championship back at Heatwave. He's coming back, and we talked about Tony Blaze and Brent Booker being the one who are going to be the tip of the spear, but whoever wins this match is going to be right behind him, right? We've got Silva and we've got Desmond. Desmond made a name for himself by showing how much he wanted the King of Primetime title, and he got it. He was then rewarded for winning that by being put in this match for the BTW championship. So I don't know if anyone could have predicted a year ago that this would have been the main event we would have ended up with at Grand Showcase 3, but it's the one that we got, and by God, I'm excited for it. So Ryan, we'll get to you in a minute, and for reasons you're disqualified from picking this match. But Brandon, what are your thoughts on the
Oh,
match and
dang
who do
it.
you got?
Jason Silva is going to be the face that runs the place. Obviously, he's got the youth that holds him back for right now. He's still waiting in line behind guys like Jason Masterson, Kevin Ralston, Zach Murphy, all the main event, DJK, all the main event guys that have been in BTW for a long time. But Silva this is going to be his swan song. He is going to prove that he is the big thing in BTW, that he is the man. He's main eventing his first grand showcase. Huge congratulations to him. I think he comes out on top of this one, and I think he has his grand showcase moment.
Ron, without your prediction for reasons, what are your thoughts on the match going into it?
Man, Desmond has shown a hunger that I did not see coming, and I don't think anyone really did. Whenever the BTW Rumble was made official, he stormed his way through it. He punched his number, and he took the King of Primetime, and that launched him straight into the main event of Grand Showcase. And ever since then, his hunger, beating Jason Masterson and just being on top, he wants this. But you have to look at the flip side of it, and you have to look at the man who is the champion, and that is Jason Silva. This man, whenever it comes to hunger, you can't, I feel like you can't top him. Yeah, I'm probably biased, but this guy has had to scratch and claw since day one. He knows what it's like to start at the bottom, and now he's at the top. He's at the mountaintop. This is where this kid has dreamed of being his entire time. He's the champ. This is his moment. He's ready to prove not only to Desmond, not only to the fans, not only to management, but to himself that he is the face of this place.
Yeah, so now we're around back to me. I've been a huge supporter of both these guys, since BTW came back, since Primetime came back. Desmond has really come out, and he's shown that he wants this. He's shown a talent that I don't know if any of us knew he had. He's been a lot, and when I say a lot, I mean a lot more consistent, since BTW was reborn than he used to be. But then you're right about Jason Silva. If it was Desmond versus anybody else, I would pick Desmond in a landslide. Like, I'm not even gonna bullshit you. If it was Desmond versus anybody else right now, and I don't care who it is, anybody else, Masterson, Ralston, Cal, DJK, Murphy, anybody, I'd pick Desmond in a landslide right now just based off the momentum that he's riding. But I think if there's any one person that can kill that momentum, it's Jason Silva. However, that being said, I'm gonna make a different kind of prediction for this match, because it's been too long since BTW has had any real shenanigans. And when I'm talking about shenanigans, I'm talking about main event of Grand Showcase 1 and the anomalies. I'm talking about Jackson Ellis turning on Black Justice. I'm talking about the nature of domination being shot in the face on live television.
Good Lord.
It's been, that happened. You should have been around for Levolution's heyday. It was fucking bananas.
I'm glad I wasn't.
I just think big time wrestling would not be big time wrestling without some shenanigans. And so far we've discussed this whole show, and not straight up. Next person that says shenanigans is getting pistol whipped. But no, really, I don't know what the shenanigans are going to be, and I don't know, I don't know who the shenanigans are going to benefit. But I think there are going to be shenanigans in the main event, and that makes it, as much as I believe in my heart that something is going to happen during this match, that makes it impossible for me to pick a winner, because the only prediction that I can say 100% for sure is that this match will not be decided by just who gets the final pinfall. And that's all I can really say about it. So guys, we just covered every match on the Grand Showcase card. Very quickly, if you guys think we can do it, I have a few questions that were asked of us, from the BTW Lounge, and we don't have to spend a lot of time on them. But in general, I mean, I've already answered this question. It's Blaze and Booker. Which match are you guys most excited for?
Honestly, I'm most excited for the main event. This is the first time we've seen two young bloods going at it in the main event on the biggest stage of them all. You know, we've had veterans in every main event of every Grand Showcase. First it was Ralston and Masterson, then we had Ralston, Shirai, and Zamcham last year. This is the first time where we get to see BTW's two youngest, some of our youngest shining stars shouldering the big load and taking on the grandest stage of them all. So, with that said, I'm most excited for the main event, Silva and Desmond.
For reasons that I will not discuss, I'm not going to pick the main event as much as I want to. I am in fact going to go back and pick the match that I confused all of y'all on between Zach Murphy and Kevin Ralston, because of the fact this is the match I'm most excited about, because this match isn't about a title. This match is about who needs it most to live in BTW. This match, I honestly feel like if you step back and look at the bigger picture, this is the match that has the most on the line. I mean, yes, Brent Booker and Tony Blaze have loser retires, but I think that between Zach Murphy and Kevin Ralston, the loser, I'm not even sure if we'll see them again in BTW. The winner, where do they go? I mean, I feel like they'll have that fire in them. They'll have that passion, but who is it going to be and how is it going to impact BTW? These are established guys. These are veterans. These are people that are almost on the Mount Rushmore, if not on the Mount Rushmore of BTW.
Oh, definitely.
And for them to have a fire back in them, to have that passion back. I mean, I know I said we have those younger guys coming up, but hypothetically, Kevin Ralston wins. Is he gonna be able to go straight back to the main event and kick, whoever is the champion, kick their teeth in and say, this is mine, I'm back? Or are they gonna, whenever they come back, just dwindle around? This match, there's so many possibilities that could happen. I'm so just captivated by this match.
So the next question was who has the most momentum. I don't think we need to go around the table. I think we can agree on the women's side it's Susie Spitz, and on the men's side it's Desmond. I mean, can we really argue that?
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, sure.
So what match on the card has the most potential to steal the show, regardless of which one you're the most excited about?
Ooh. I think Masterson and Cal could really steal the show. A ladder match, there's so much potential for crazy things to happen, for shenanigans, some might say, to happen. So I really, and yeah, this is where the oh fuck wolf comes in and says, oh fuck, shenanigans.
Man.
But no, definitely, you've got two wily competitors in that match willing to do whatever it takes to win in a no-holds-barred environment in which they have to climb a 30-foot ladder and retrieve a championship title. This is why people compare wrestling to cartoons, people. But that is definitely one that is going to steal the show.
For me, I mean, whenever you talk about stealing the show, I mean, a lot of times you think of, captivating wrestling maneuvers or stipulations like a ladder or a cage. But for me, I think it comes down to personality and to who's actually in it. And for me, there's no bigger personality in BTW than Tony Blaze and Brent Booker. I think just between having the two owners, the two guys that every person on this card has looked at and had their paycheck personally signed by these people, go at it, and the loser has to retire, I think that match is going to have every single pair of eyes directly on it, and whatever happens, I think it'll leave the entire crowd, locker room, audience at home, internet, dude pooping on the toilet, it's going to leave them at all.
So I think, for me, I'm going to go with a dark horse. I'm going to go with the tag team title match at the top of the card. I think that match has a lot of room for a lot of exciting moments. And I think there's just a lot of charisma in that match with Deadpool and TJ Shadows and Spike. So I think that one has the ability to be a supremely fun match and, can give the rest of the card a lot to live up to. So guys, we're going to end on one final question here. We want to first of all thank everybody for listening. We were super excited about the reaction that I got for asking. It's pretty much unanimous that everyone wanted it to come back, and God, I really hope we can make this a little bit more permanent. But for now, we're going to close on this final question, and I hate to drop the serious bomb here, but Grand Showcase concludes, BTW is going to go back to a weekly show. Do we think that BTW is going to once again thrive? Do you think Showcase will have anything to do with it? Do you think that there is a certain, result of the show that may hinge on whether or not BTW thrives again? I mean, what are your overall thoughts as it pertains to the results of the Grand Showcase, versus whether or not BTW is going to thrive again, starting with Brandon?
I think the entire future of BTW rides on this event. There are so many big matches, so many potential storylines and directions for us to go in after this event. So, this is it. This is the catalyst. It's either going to be for BTW's resurrection or the evident fall of BTW. So I know which one I'm hoping it is, and I know everybody on the show is going to bring it. So, and if they do, then BTW is going to be just fine. But, it all depends on this. It really does.
I couldn't agree more with Brandon. I mean, from the kickoff show starting with Bill Cage versus Bobby Wyatt to the show opening with Goldpool versus the Shadow Warriors, all the way down to the main event of Jason Silva versus Desmond. Each match means something. Each match has something so much more at stake than what's just in stake in the match, and that's just BTW as a whole. Whenever the night concludes, whenever the final lights are shut off and the last fan walks out of the arena, and whenever every single competitor leaves the locker room, it's going to hands down show what BTW is capable of. And I know personally that at Grand Showcase, whoever is the owner, whoever is the champions, they'll be able to lay their head on their hotel pillow that night and say, I have an amazing job because BTW is coming back full time, not only surviving, but going to thrive in the e-fetting world.
That's very well said by both of you, and a lot of good points. I don't think that it's possible to predict what's going to happen, because I don't think any of us predicted that BTW was just going to absolutely flatline like it did. There's a reason that it was talked about on like the main Facebook pages, the eFed Wrestling Nostalgia, and those stupid websites, frankly, that typically do countdowns by people who are completely uneducated on any Fed but their own. But if you'll notice, a lot of them talked about BTW dying. Now, I think that may have been because a lot of people were happy that BTW died.
Because we're the best there ever was.
I think that because of that, though,
Agreed.
It's got a negative connotation. Because there have been people who have come in here with their egos held high. I've made it in these other feds, so I'm going to be a world champion here. And then they get here and they get frustrated because there's so much talent here. And then they take that,
right,
and then they take that as, well, my talent isn't being respected. I should be a world champion by now. I'm leaving, and I'm going to talk shit on this company for the rest of my days. There's a combination of that. There have been a lot of bad attitudes that have been in BTW, and I think even the ones with the best attitudes have been guilty of having a bad attitude at some point or another. I just think the most important thing that BTW can do is evolve. We have to grow outside. We have to go outside of ourselves a little bit. We can't keep operating in this BTW lives on this planet and everybody else lives on this other planet. We have to evolve with the times, and we're living in a time where, and I know that we're talking about this like it's so super serious, but that's the thing, is that the e-fetting thing on some level is important to all of us. We wouldn't be doing it, right? So I think we're living in a time where all of the other federations are working together and are having these combo events and crossing over and recruiting from each other's companies and stuff like that. And that kind of stuff's okay. So I think BTW needs to reach out and it needs to evolve. But that being said, we can evolve all we fucking want to, but if none of us put in the work that it needs to bring it back to life, it's not going to do it on its own. So regardless
I'll drink to that.
regardless of how the Grand Showcase ends, if we then don't use that, because the Grand Showcase, the one thing I can say is it's going to cause a lot of momentum. It's going to cause a lot of excitement. It's going to cause a lot of conversation. It's going to cue up a lot of promos and a lot of rivalry. It's going to do all of that stuff. But it's up to us as the people who are involved in it to make sure that it stays that way. So if we want, it sounds really simple. As simple as it may not be, it sounds really simple. If we want BTW to work, then we have to make it work. And that's really as much as I can say on the matter.
Hey, Brandon.
Yes, sir.
Do you see Jade up on a soapbox over there?
I certainly
The soapbox must not have much soap in it, because I smell like shit right now. I need a shower.
Our Donald Trump of BTW. It's gonna be
BTW is gonna be here. It's gonna be great. We're gonna do it together. You'll see.
It's gonna be
build
huge.
a wall around EWO.
We're gonna make BTW great again. Don't you worry. Why? Because we have the best talent. We have the best men. We have the best women. We have the best E-fetters in all the E-fetting world. Let's make BTW great
Dude,
again.
just close your eyes and listen, and it is Donald Trump. That's so crazy.
I think he just assumed my gender.
I hope I did. Are you triggered? It's too genders. You know what? Deported. I hope you go back to Canada. I hope you like it.
Deported back to Canada.
You
No
Canuck.
Mexicans. No Mexicans.
I'm done.
Oh, what a great way to close it. Brandon, Ryan, thank you guys so much for wasting 2 hours of your time and hanging out with me and doing the podcast. I really appreciate it, guys. All right, guys. Everybody, enjoy the Grand Showcase. We will hopefully see you again very soon for another episode of the podcast. Until then, I'm Jade with Brandon and Ryan. Enjoy the show, guys, and we'll see you later.